After Tuesday's election, Republicans now have 90% majorities in both chambers. Republicans control the executive branch of state government, and every member of the congressional delegation is a Republican. Josh Meny, he convened a focus group with 4 individuals with different political viewpoints to go over why there seems to be so little competition in North Dakota politics.
All politics is national now. Remember, we passed a law about critical race theory, but the major issues on the national front, by and large, are not in North Dakota. Does the DemNPL need to take on the national brand to make sense, or is it vice versa? Should the DemNPL let go of some of the national issues?
Well, I think one challenge that we have is really telling the story of our local elected officials. Last night at the Election Watch Party, I got to introduce Josh Boucher out of Fargo, North Dakota, and I brought up House Bill 1509, I believe, where he introduced a tax credit for young farmers. I think that's a really great example of our local leaders from an urban area representing people outside of his district. Nationally, you would hear that the Democrats have walked away from rural North Dakota, but locally we still haven't. We have our own Elisa Mitskog down in Wahpeton representing landowners out in western North Dakota. So as a caucus, I think we really need to tell our stories and how we're fighting to really put common sense proposals forward to affect all North Dakotans, not just the district and not just one side of the party.
We have 2 parties. Their job is to nominate the 2 most qualified people and put it to the people to vote. Now, in a place like North Dakota, the Democratic, the more progressive / liberal person is still going to be fairly conservative on a national scale. They're just going to be a little bit more progressive or liberal compared to the other party. And so I think we get a little bit caught up in the national politics and we paint everybody with that same brush. And so I think the challenge for the Democrats right now is to really make it about those local issues and the actual candidates, and to do what they can to bring those issues out in a discussion. Because we're probably going to continue to lose on that national level and that national branding.
Now, for you, Matthew, you're with the Republicans. Successful night last night. What do you see your party doing that continues that success?
Well, I think they're definitely going to keep focusing on Fargo for sure. Obviously it didn't turn out well for Carter Isinger and Brad Leeser. They both lost in their district, but up in Grand Forks, you had a split ticket. They took the Senate and with Jeff Barta, and then Zach Ista, Mary Adams. Mary Adams lost. So it's very interesting dynamic in Grand Forks going on right now. You're seeing it turn more red as time goes on. But it's interesting what's going to happen with Fargo. And then Ruth Buffalo lost as well. So I think the real focus is just going to be keep going at Fargo as much as they can.
Amelia, you ran as a Democrat for state Senate in 2020. You had a really close race last night.
Yep.
First of all, how are you feeling?
Well, I mean, you run a race and you're disappointed, but I think for a young female on the ballot for the first time in a county election, I did pretty well. It was less than 1,000 votes split between the bottom 3, and then the 5th one had 5,000 less. I would love to be preparing to be sworn in December, but all things considered, it was a great race. I got to meet some great people and really learned a lot. I had a friend come up to me last night at our watch party after the results came in, and she said, "Thank you for running. I'm so glad that my girls have someone to look up to." And I think when we take a step back from politics, whether you're blue or red, Democrat, Republican, at the end of the day, what we need to be doing is showing our youth, whether they're male, female, come from a Republican or Democrat household, that politics is a place for them. You don't need to have a special name. You don't need to have a lot of money, that you can impact change on the local level regardless of your party affiliation.
And coming up in the second hour of Good Day Dakota, Josh Many will ask the focus group why the state, which seems to so heavily favor one-party rule, voted overwhelmingly for term limits, and a change that could arguably make state politics more competitive. Also, the young Republican member we interviewed, that was Matthew Heilman, he won his seat for District 7 on Tuesday night.